We want to welcome in Rob Astorino. He joins us live from our studio in New York City. He's a former Westchester County executive in New York. We appreciate your time here on America Talks Live. So what do you think? I want to go back to this lawsuit that got a chuckle out of Dr. Gina, but again, to our audience, it is real. What do you think prompted the Democrats to take such a move?
And you don't think we need tort reform in America? I mean, this is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And so, you know what, the Martians are going to be sued also because they're from the red planet and maybe they had something to do with this. This is just insane. But this is where the Democratic Party is now. They are so far over and they're running out of fuel in the tank on the just oppose Trump on everything. That's their strategy, and it's playing itself out now because you've got a key witness, if you will, in Comey, who is being discredited by his own words, by the way. You got McCabe, who has lied to the FBI, and that's where Flynn and others have been arrested and, will be found guilty and go to jail perhaps for lying. So we've got all this happening, and all of a sudden, I think to the average American who are getting sick and tired of this every night, it's either Russia collusion or Stormy Daniels, and everything in the country is at a standstill. And I think most people are saying, there's really nothing there, at least until this point. And when are we going to start to move on? So the ridiculousness of this lawsuit is really showing the hand of the Democrats of where they are as a party. They're devoid of any ideas. And just running against Donald Trump is not a good strategy at the polls because eventually people are going to say, well, what do you have to offer?
Rob, that's a great point, this is really illustrating, highlighting how they don't have a platform. I hope this lawsuit...
Nothing.
I hope the lawsuit facilitates Bernie Sanders suing the DNC for what they did to him. But do you think this is, as I posit, a contingency plan? They see Giuliani coming in. 11 members of Congress refer Comey and Lynch and McCabe and others to DOJ for criminal prosecution. I think the Dems are very nervous that, McCabe or more of those people will be prosecuted. The OIG report drops in a month or so. I think this is making the Dems very nervous going into the midterms. This lawsuit is really a death throes, last-ditch attempt to regain whatever they feel they have narrative with their base.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Hail Mary, but the prevent defense is going to win this one here. And thankfully and hopefully the courts throw this out for being as frivolous as it is. But again, you get into what do the Democrats stand for? If they were to take over Congress, what would they actually do other than try impeaching the president, which they've been saying, by the way, since about 3 a.m. on election night when Donald Trump won. It was, let's impeach him and we'll figure out why and how afterwards. That's all it's been, led by, the Maxine Waters of the world who just go berserko and need to run at her safe space every time she sees or hears the T word. Yeah, the same thing. So, I think this is helpful to the Republican narrative of, can we move on? Can we actually get some things done? Can you stop blocking confirmations of people who have to actually run the government? Can we move towards issues that are important to people as opposed to being fixated upon something of which we have seen nothing yet about any collusion, which isn't a crime, collusion with Russia on the Trump campaign? And we've also heard that apparently Rosenstein says Trump is not the target. Okay, if he's not the target, and this whole Cohen raid, he's not the target of that either, then can we please turn the page on this nonsense?
But Alan Dershowitz said, he said that Rudy Giuliani's legal ability is legion. But what do you think specifically it is about Rudy Giuliani that he brings to the table that's different?
A couple things. First of all, I've known Rudy a long time, being here in New York in Republican Party politics. I think he was a great mayor who really flipped the switch on this city, turned it around from, unfortunately, the nonsense we're dealing with now with de Blasio. But I think the biggest thing is psychological for Donald Trump. Rudy's kind of like the Linus Blanket for Trump. He's a good friend. He's been with him along the whole campaign, sat with him on the plane, introduced him at the rallies. And there was a question mark why he wasn't put in as Attorney General or Secretary of State, which is really what Rudy wanted. And I don't know why he overreached there. He should have taken Attorney General. We wouldn't have been through this nonsense right now because he wouldn't have had to recuse himself. But I think more than anything, yes, it's a bridge between Mueller, whom he knows, and also the president. But more than that, I think he's like an eyes and ears for Trump and saying, look, your team actually is doing everything possible. We are actually making some headway. Stay back a little bit. Things are actually going your way here. And I think he's a psychological help for a president who, quite frankly, has been under siege since the day he got elected, before he was even sworn in. And I don't blame him that, the country needs to move on. And the things in those memos, I read those memos last night. What jumped out at me about the memos that Comey wrote, I think he was writing those for public consumption. I think he was writing those that eventually he knew those were going to get out. I'd love to see all the memos he wrote about, and I'd love to see all the memos that he wrote every time he met with President Obama. Do those exist?
Yeah.
Newsmax TV. Watch us on Dish, DirecTV, AT&T Uverse, Verizon Fios, or download our free app. Don't have Newsmax TV? Call your local cable provider and request Newsmax today.